What's up, everybody? My name is BMax78, aka Brand. This is episode 121 of the Anime Dojo. I'm alongside Chris and Dion this evening. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. How y'all fellas hanging?
Doing good.
I'm doing well. Can't complain. We have a pretty packed show for you tonight. First off, we're going to go through episodes 7 and 8 of Lord of Mysteries. Secondly, we'll go through the charts, and then the big thing. Basically, the thing to start the show off tonight, we're talking about Demon Slayer, The Infinity Castle, Movie 1. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting thing because we saw it all together. We saw it in the same place. Not a lot of people in the theater. It was actually a pretty good experience overall. But first, let's kick this off with this. Man, gentlemen, the news from what's came out about some go movie goers that had some experiences of what happened with their theaters. I'm not gonna go through everything. Here's some highlights. A couple of fights have broken out in a couple of theaters across the country. There has been issues of, let's say, people relieving themselves, things like that. I can go down a list, but also I'm just gonna go more broad sense. People are more annoyed. It seems like they're more annoyed this time around going to theaters than they were last time. And I don't know what's that all about, but I'm gonna ask you, this gentleman, this first. Chris, I'll start with you. What do you feel like this movie has done to people? Because think about this. Movie Train came out in 2021, if I remember correctly. So right in the height of COVID, right after the height of COVID. Um, and people weren't really going to theaters. But then this movie comes out, people are clamoring to go to theaters. It has gotten pretty good reviews. Overall, it's made over $70 million in the first weekend alone of a release. Beating the record of the last animated movie to do that was the first Pokemon movie at 35. It doubled that record at 35 million. But also, it's made over $325 million of the global box office. On top of that, it's the 10th grossing movie of all time, the second highest anime grossing movie, and has beaten out uh, Studio Ghibli's. I think it's called. I forget what it was. It's not. It's not Kiki's Delivery. It's the one. It's called something in the wind. That one. That one. In to get second place. So, Chris, I'm gonna ask you this question. Like I said before, what is with this movie and people having feel like a craze, but a craze in not a way.
I mean, Brandon, firstly, man, I didn't know you had that much movie knowledge just on Reddit. Wow. Secondly, bruh, I admit the movie is emotionally invoking, but does not that in any form, I can't even put that sentence together. There is no rhyme or reason to relieve yourself publicly, period. Bruh, like he deserved every bit of ass whooping he got. And a matter of fact, I even saw the video of the police taking him out.
Yes, I
It,
saw the
it
same video.
like, bruh, it wasn't even no argument. The police like, come on. He like they didn't ask why he was beat, why he looked like crap. They didn't ask who beat him up. They just told him, come on, bruh. Like I can't even say no more to that, bruh, because you in a movie theater full of kids, bro, like families. Like, bro, like honestly, it couldn't have been in Texas. Couldn't have
They
been.
never said where. They never said where it was, surprisingly. And I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of good thing. You didn't say where, but
Bro, he
you
would have
also
been a
kind of,
dead man.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and thank you for. I appreciate you like saying that I got all this movie knowledge. I did look it all up because I wanted to know. All that just came out like a couple days out, like after the weekend and throughout the weekend. So I looked it all up and kind of gathered it, talked about it. Dion, do you agree with Chris in this sense? What do you think about this whole situation? Because this seems like people were too hyped, as they say.
I mean, jaw dropping.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Bro, I had no idea of any of that. I heard about a couple of fights, but goodness, that is
Yeah, bro.
that's
The-
sickening and funny at the same time,
which is the
dude.
bad part. That's the
It's
sad
It's
part.
funny because he got his ass whooped instead of getting his ass getting killed.
and that's my one reprieve about this news is at least no one's dead, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
you
yeah.
know, you remember the Batman movie where guys are like going
Oh,
around shooting up movie theaters?
yeah.
Bro, the movie wasn't even that good. Like,
I remember that.
if anything, you should have been
I,
shooting the screen. Bro,
I, I will say this. They did also. I saw some other people talking about this across the Instagram space, Facebook space, Twitter space, and all that kind of stuff. But both times that these fights ever broke out, which is even more insane, was both during the Zenitsu section of that fight with him and Kikaku. And I'm just like, what? Doesn't even make any sense. But okay, side sidebar along. But I'm just like, all right.
wait,
Uh,
that fight got them all riled up because Zenny Boy did go ham.
Yep.
he
I, I,
he went
yeah.
bananas.
I, I have to say one thing that is it a and it's also okay. I'll put it this way too. The other thing about this whole time period, this goes going on right now with Demon Slayer movie. Most movies don't release in September, so people have talked about this. Most movies don't release in September. September is usually a dead month, pretty quiet month for movies. We've had 4 movies released in September this year so far, and they've all done well. And I'm like,
Because
is that a new
September is the
trend?
best month ever.
How?
Because I was born in September.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Um,
But it wasn't
that's
the
fair.
21st of September.
um,
Eh,
I
close.
but it also feels like too. It also feels like too. That tells me we'll see a lot more movie theaters and movie studios go. Okay, if this is a good September, let's try to make some movies that good for September. Y'all see a trend like that going on? Like, so Dion, do you see a trend where we could see like next September we see a lot more bigger movies come out in that time period?
I don't know if it's more so aiming for September or if it's just trying to finish by the end of summer.
Okay.
That's a
So, you
fair.
know,
That's
the
fair.
end of summer before the fall season kicks off for anime, because the fall season is always kind of decent for anime, but it's never really that hoorah like summer is. So, kind of like
Mhm.
giving it that dose of edge, I guess,
Okay.
at the
Okay.
end, So I don't see necessarily September itself, but like closing around it.
I can see that.
So so like end of summer, but right before we get to spooky season for Halloween kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
Okay. 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 I can see that. It's an interesting thing because that's when I saw that story. When I saw that news too, I was like, oh, that's kind of insane because most of summer was pretty quiet movie wise, and even the start of the summer was pretty quiet movie wise. So it didn't really like this Demon Slayer making that for September end of summer really hit was kind of insane. Um, Before we get into review, there's one other stat I will tell you because I did find this one interesting. I don't know how true this is because there's a couple different reports about this. Would be surprised if this is pretty accurate. They said the movie budget overall, so actually to make the movie was only $20 million.
That lets me know that these anime studios are full of crud monkeys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I saw that when they said that number, I'm like, and I'm thinking, huh? That
No,
can't be right. There's no way. And I'm thinking, I
no
actually did.
one ever ever can use my budget was not big enough as an excuse anymore because this movie was theatrically beautiful.
Ye-
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
after that little news section, because I did want to get that out there because that, like I said, crazy weekend in terms of movie going and just crazy stories coming out of theaters and stuff. I had to bring it up because it was just kind of fun. It was kind of weird and just I think people need to be how to have etiquette going into movies now. That's all I'm going to say with that because that's just they're just
Bro, but
crazy
that's
stuff.
things that shouldn't not have to be explained. Like, bruh.
But it's funny they explained it for Japan, and Japan's one of the most. And it's funny. I'm saying this respectfully. Japan's very good about following rules, even their own country's rules. So I'm surprised you didn't have to explain you should have explained that in the states just in case something would have gone crazy.
I'm gonna say this, B, Chris. I want you guys to listen to this and understand that it comes from a pure place in my heart.
Okay.
Anime watchers are some weird mother.
Well, that's also
What did
fair.
we expect?
Yo, but there's a limit. I mean, there's a boundary, you know.
What?
I agree,
We're
Chris.
talking about people who dress up in costumes and go raw in the public face. We're weird, bro.
But see,
We're weird.
the funny thing about that, Dion, I agree with you normally, but I also agree with Chris. This was over the top. This was out of a place of like what the world was going on kind of thing. Like,
Like, there is a line, and when you cross
Hmm.
that line, you deserve to get your ass beat, and that's any and everybody.
but
That
but
line is
yes,
very thin and blurry and wavy and weavy when it comes to anime authors.
yeah, that line is very thin. That line is
Okay,
super thin.
but okay,
Because
so
if it was
you
at a
so
con and it was a girl, it would have been okay. Let's be honest.
wait, say
Wait,
that
wait,
again.
wait. Repeat
If
that one more
if
time.
this was at a con and that was a girl, it would have been okay. Let's be honest. B Mac.
Surprisingly, you aren't terribly wrong. I can't disagree with you, but I can't fully agree with you. You ain't terribly wrong. But the funny thing I will say, we're not in the 2000s anymore. That's the interesting part. If this was happening in like 2000, 2005, 2006, early 2010s,
Yeah,
oh,
that's true.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now,
That's
from the
true.
2020s, that that wouldn't
You
fly.
know,
Like, I see your point.
it's the fact that
I
you
see.
had to say a con. Like, if you go to that type of con, that's something that people would pay for. But when
Hmm.
you go to a family function in a family oriented place to watch
Hmm.
a quote unquote somewhat family movie,
Somewhat.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
It's somewhat.
yeah,
Can't
It is
do it.
rated R. It
that
is still rated
line,
R. It
there's
is
a
It's
still
still
line.
rated R. If you're
it's
letting
You
still
your
have
rated R.
kid go see this movie, you're probably prepared for some weird stuff. You're
yeah, but
prepared for
okay.
somebody to be dressed up like Zenitsu and start walking on the edges of the chairs. You're prepared for that. You're prepared for
Um,
somebody to be dressed as as Tanjiro, or no, better yet, dressed with the doggone boar's head and no shirt on to come running through the movie theater's house. You're prepared for that. You're not prepared for what they got. I don't care who you are, how weird it is. You're not prepared for
that
that.
is true. That is true.
But
You're not prepared for the. But
I
yeah,
kind of
I think.
expected it.
I,
And
oh,
here's the funny
one.
part.
Mhm.
He's the one that got caught.
Now that's a scary thought.
That that you just put that on my brain, and I'm like, I don't want to think of that, but I can actually see that's yeah. You're right. You're right. You were right. By the way, that $70 million they made over this weekend, that was the highest grossing for an anime movie, but also I don't know if I didn't think they disclosed it. I didn't think they actually separated this out. Highest grossing rated R movie, which is actually kind of interesting to me because I'm like, would you give them that title technically? But okay, they did get that as well.
I mean, everybody got, yeah. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say it for spoiler reasons, but
yeah, but it
yeah,
was like I'm like, oh,
every
okay, I didn't think.
conversation was.
Yeah, good point. Um, so we'll start off with this. I'm gonna start off with Chris for this. Broad strokes for the movie. Broad strokes, as much as you can. I know we'll kind of dip into scenes and things, but broad strokes. What do you think of the movie overall?
Awesome.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say no more without getting into it.
Yeah, okay. Was there anything? I'll give you a
Usually,
little leeway. I'll give you a little
you
leeway. So like music or anything that felt graphically off. That's all. I'll put it that way.
graphically,
Oh, when I say graphically, I
Like
mean
something different match or
like
did not.
scene wise or aesthetic wise, things that didn't feel right. If that makes any
there
sense.
was I can say at certain times I did feel like it felt long,
Hmm.
like it was kind of like drawn out a little bit, like, but it was still good, and I felt like it had a reason, whether I agree with that reason or not.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Fair assessment. Um, Dion, same thing with you. Staying in the broad strokes and kind of like graphically, musically, however you want to talk about it. What do you think of this movie?
It was all right. It was all right. Wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst. I've seen better. It could have been trash, but it wasn't. I say that because of what Chris mentioned at the towards the end of what he was saying. It was very, very drawn out in a lot of parts, and it seemed you really felt like you were binge watching a bunch of episodes back to back to back to back.
Here, okay, I will say this, and I'll have to give Chris's cousin his credit. I have to give Chris his credit for this. He did tell me this before we went to go see this movie, so I'll have to give the man credit for it. He did say he's like, "Aren't y'all going to see a movie that's 2.5 hours? Isn't that like 5 episodes technically normally?" And I was like, "Technically, yes. It could be five, six, um, at most seven if you really want to push it." Um, But yes, they can feel like episodes. It's like that's kind of why would that's just like watching a one long
I mean,
episode. I'm like, yeah, yeah. I was like,
here's
yeah,
the
you're right.
thing though. You can make it feel like a movie, and it did in most parts. But when you break down those dialogue parts, break it up so what I don't
Mm,
feel like I'm only watching this segment and not the rest of the movie. Like when they were talking about one person's background story, kind of split out, cut to somebody else really quick and have that little moment and then cut back to the story and kind of bridge things together so it's not seeming like it's just isolated and
That
just
every bit of that is
monsters,
agreed upon.
you know.
okay, that's
No
fair.
positive.
I will say too, they did mention because I've heard people talk about this and I didn't know how they were to do it. I've read the Castle arc. I know a little bit about the Castle arc, how that works, Infinity Castle arc. But they did stretch out a lot some of the arcs. So like the Kanawhi and Doma fight is really short in the manga, but they stretched it out.
That's
Zenitsu and I think
amazing.
Akaza. Oh yeah, that's really good. It's really good. Zenitsu and
Yeah.
Akaza, I think it's stretched out a little bit. So a lot of the fights are more stretched out based on the manga from the manga because the
That's
manga is
a
getting really cool.
great but that is a great example of how to do it. The way that they did it was they went from the
One,
past in the story
yep,
to the future in the fight, and they kept weaving it back and forth. So you wasn't
yes,
just staying like the last one of the last fights we got. We stayed on that story for so long, it
Correct.
almost got boring.
Correct.
And it's
Um,
like, bro, they're in the middle of a fight right now. Let's weave in and out so that we keep
Yes.
you know
Let's keep the
captivated.
adrenaline up.
Yeah.
I do feel like the other thing this movie wanted you to do, and it's hard to do because it doesn't really build itself to do it well. Granted, it does it well enough. It wanted to make you laugh. The problem was the only two times I actually kind of laughed pretty hard is the one time where y'all stared at each other like, and we were watching I think the ending sequence with the guy we're gonna talk about, the Dojo guy, and he said something that kind of was funny. And the only other time before that I really laughed was when I think it's Inosuke says something to Tanjiro, and it kind of is like, is he serious? And it kind of made me chuckle because like Inosuke is supposed to be that comedic kind of not really serious character, but what he says makes sense half the time. So I'm like, okay, I see why you tried to make me laugh. It worked, but it doesn't always work. And the one thing I will give Demon Slayer, I know people will say this, the story's not gripping enough. Well, technically the story is gripping. It's just not. Do I really want to invoke this right now? Do I really want to invoke this?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Bring
It
it
is
out.
not
Bring
as
it
grip.
out.
It's not as gripping as like a Dragon Ball Z. It's not as gripping as like a One Piece. It's gripping in a way where at least you care about the characters of the show. You care about the characters
Mm,
more or less than the actual like overarching story. And I will say the
mm,
first 10 minutes was kind of interesting to me because they recapped, and I think you smiled. I remember Chris looked at me and said, "You call that?" I'm like, they recapped what we saw from the last episode of the Swordsman Village arc, basically, or the Hashira training arc, not Swordsman, Hashira training arc,
mm,
to the point where it's like, oh, just not a one-one recap. It's basically like, oh, this is what happened. This is where we're at now. Here's the little thing. We're going.
I
We're just
like
going.
how they did it though.
I did. Oh yeah, I don't think it's bad.
How
I don't
they
think it's bad
had
at
the
all.
sound Hashira basically telling us what happened. Like
What
that
just happened?
was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I do appreciate that. So it works. I will say the other thing that's kind of funny, but I also think kind of interesting. I kind of feel like we don't get to see one character. And the one character we don't get to see is the doctor lady. We see her once. She gets. She's
I mean, but
still.
there's a reason why.
There's a reason why. But I would have expected us to like. I would have
I think
hoped
it's about
she had
time we
said,
switch to the other side. Yep.
we're about to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're about to.
Yeah.
This is getting to that point. But I
Because
was bringing
yeah,
this up
because you
is
you borderline, bro. Just saying you borderline.
I'm borderline, very borderline. The reason I bring it up,
We
her
not.
assistant, her her
It's
assist her assistant was the thing that like when we see him, I'm like, wait, you didn't explain how do you
nope,
get
because they did. Yes, they did.
I figured they
Yes, they
did,
did.
but it was not like the um.
His,
Let's get into
his.
spoiler territory. We
I
did
was
keep it.
okay. Thank you.
We did keep it. Hey,
I
I've
told you.
tried.
I told you.
I've tried to be nice because I know people are gonna. If you really want to hear spoilers, that's the point. But I also want to make sure if you haven't seen the movie, there's the thing. So now we're gonna hit spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the movie
Spoiler
at this
alert!
point,
Spoiler alert!
skip ahead about I don't know. It'll be about 20 minutes. I'll make sure I put that in the notes for the show, so you have that there. Um, who want to start with this? I'll let Dion
This is
start.
a
Dion, go
spoiler
right ahead.
warning,
Go
bro.
right ahead.
So I'm gonna just piggyback. I'm gonna just talk to your point. You were saying that we didn't see the doctor lady. Of course we didn't. She's holding Muzan to like he's holding her at
Right.
this point, and they have no idea where he is yet. So we really can't see him because we're on the Slayer Core side. We're still looking for
Yep.
him too.
Yep.
Where and then you said that they didn't explain uh the
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 assistant. His assistant.
assistant being there,
Yeah.
but they did. The master's
Mm.
son and his sisters explained how everybody got there. When they said,
That's
"Hey,
what I.
my dad set this up. He hired the doctor lady and the he said their
That's what I
names."
thought. That's what I thought. But I also thought that was funny. And I'm no offense to the people who's playing the son and the two other sisters. I do feel like I do feel like that was kind of roped in there a little bit because it didn't feel like it was a natural
But
progression of
but
the.
people ruined that, and people who read the manga ruined that for everybody. So
Correct. That was the other thing too. A lot of people have read the manga and ruined that part because I didn't know they were. I thought they were all dead. I thought all the family was dead. I didn't know he even had a son.
Mm-mm.
So, so it's actually kind of
But
funny because I'm
no.
like,
But the thing is, people who rent and rewatched it from season one remembered where all of them came from, and wherever
oh
like
yeah,
sorry about
yeah. And I think I even tell you. I think I told you that
it. Yeah, I
the
lose
other
you.
thing that kind of
All right, we're back.
I think the other thing that kind of boggles my mind. The other thing that kind of boggled my mind is the fact that, and I don't know if you got this when we first saw. Did you mind the cutting between that first 10 minutes where they cut between every Hashira and seeing where they're going? Because I was like, do you really need to cut between all of them? It kind of felt like you kind of just left that alone.
Yes,
Uh,
agreed. Yes. If
really?
you weren't gonna tell them, if you weren't going to tell any part of their story, I think that you should have just waited.
I
I
kind of liked it
and I get
though.
where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from, Dion. I liked it too, but I do think it was a little annoying because it ended up doing the thing where it's like, we're not going to see everybody right away, but you're showing everybody's here. That's the thing I get you're doing, but it's like,
See,
Why?
I like seeing everybody being sprung into action immediately. Like everybody was like, "All right, let's go. I'm killing a demon. Let's do this." Like you
okay,
don't really see their story yet, but you do get to see them do something which you haven't seen ever for
yeah,
most of them,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So it's like, okay, he can fight, you know what I'm saying? So, and they did for me, they didn't really like stay there long enough for it to be annoying. They just kind of was like, all right, here's A and B team, here's B and C team. Let me show you that these guys are together, which is why they're not showing up for these two when they're over here, you know.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Um,
Then it made more sense when you see them scribing and following everybody, and you can like, okay, well, they're going this way, they're going this way. I can send this team to that way,
But you
you
know
know.
what though? They did. I did like the way they threw in the Easter egg. If you, I don't know. So do y'all remember the other students when they used their sword technique and
Oh
like
yeah,
the other
yeah,
guy
yeah. How
and
they
they
yep,
train the hospital training guard.
right and they actually said that they reused the same animation from season one.
yep. It's the same animation.
Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
came in with the
Uh,
water breathing first form.
yep, yep.
Right.
I, I, I will also go down this line a little bit too. I'm not. I okay. I will say this. I disagree with a lot of people who said the music was kind of bland. I don't feel like the music was too bland, but I also don't feel like we're not gonna get the music from like season one, season two, season three. We're not gonna get voice pieces. I knew that
Hold
off the
up,
bat.
man. Because you're talking about something I feel very strongly about right now. Let me tell you,
Okay.
for anybody who did not like the music can kiss my black ass.
Thank
Let me
you.
tell you,
Okay. I thought I was the only one about to jump through this
I see.
screen.
bro.
Bruh. I felt
Because
like the music was
firstly,
very
bro,
Demon Slayer. What?
thank you. And then people who know music, like they have to write an entirely new script for a movie. Like, bro, you are not giving any music appreciation at all. Like, do
Bro,
you
and
know
that
all
score
this
was
was a
dope.
handwritten score for a group of musicians who, bruh,
It was very orchestra. Like it was
it
amazing, bro.
was.
It was like
Thank you.
watching Phantom of the Opera meets Demon Slayer, bro. It was amazing. What? Do it again. Do it with everyone now. Just
Yes, like
because.
I want the whole symphony. Like, bro, if I went to the Dallas Symphony and they was playing a prelude of Demon Slayer, I'm being there. I'm gonna be there.
Bro, and you leave room for that. Creating something like this, you leave room for that. This is going to be scored by other composers, is going to be recreated, it's going to be covered. Like you leave room for all of that. But I'll tell you one thing that I really, really liked about the music: it never stopped.
Man,
It never stopped. It kept you in it. It was some parts where the dialogue was getting boring, and then I'll hear the music, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, gentlemen. And I'm gonna say this, ladies. I'm gonna say this, ladies and gentlemen. I trust both these boys with music. They both play music. They both know it. I also played music. I've been banned, so I get this. I agree with everything that's said. But I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocado here. Here's why. Devil's advocate.
Brandon, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off,
I'm
Brandon.
not. I'm not. But here's the
I
thing.
feel
The
like
reason
you
I'm doing
are.
that. Here's the reason I'm doing that. I don't think this. I thought the score was great, but I think what people were hoping for, and I'm putting this out there, putting it on the ether, putting that on the podcast realm. Lisa to sing her one of her songs. We had the girl and the boy guy group sing the song for season two. I think what people thought was going to be this grandiose
Bro,
piece that was going to lead us into this movie, but
this
also
is
the
not
thing that
Kaiju number 8, bro.
that's what hey
Nor is it
hey
Still,
not. Nor is it
uh,
not.
I don't disagree with
It's
that
not
either.
dated that. It's
But
not.
I but the other thing I think I heard I think a lot of people were looking at was like I think the big thing was like some of the set piece moments the music fell off. But I'm like, no. And the big one, I think that people got kind of annoyed by was it I think it's Zenitsu's piece? When Zenitsu beats Kagaku, it's an upbeat it's like a really upbeat tune.
heck yeah. Because he
And I'm
said,
like,
"All right, then, bruh,
oh
bruh,
yeah.
now
The
it's time to whoop that."
the
Hmm.
reason why makes sense. I think a lot of people were expecting a darker, more somber, more like
See,
just
that's the
gonna
thing.
pull.
They gave Gaku more buff than he needed to. He ain't that
Yeah,
important.
yeah, true. Fair
He ain't
enough.
that
Fair
important.
enough. Fair enough.
This was a mid tier fight. He ain't that important. The main fight happened and it was beautiful. This was not the main fight. You want main fight energy from this C rank character and the B rank character who is dope, but in Demon Slayer he is B tier, and it just wasn't gonna happen.
The other thing I will say, the whole Doma and I, I think Konami, I think how you say her name, the uh, butterfly, the insect hosher, I think is how you. That whole section was creepy as all get out, and it's partially because of Doma. Like Doma, the person who played Doma did a very good job making Doma sound creepy, and I have to give them some credit because you could have probably made that really bland. Because Doma's whole thing is the fact that
Okay.
like he's the kind of one that is this cult leader, which that's the point of the character. But
Yeah, he
Puma's
is
backstory, you just kind of
Jesus.
figure out he doesn't care. He don't give a flying whatever about the people. He's just there to be that way, and he's kind of like, okay, all right, you're playing with the character correctly. And I'm thinking, all right, are they gonna actually do the thing? And then when she first walks in that room, he's chowing down that person. I'm like, oh, you really did not expect. I was like, all right, y'all are actually playing. I have to give him credit for that one. I will
But let
say
me
that was
but let me say
that's the
this
only one
though.
I okay.
So the thing that pissed me off about that scene is because she was the first Hashira who came out using something other than sword skills to try to beat her opponent. Now, see, I haven't read the manga or anything, so that surprised me. And to me, my
Oh, her
movie
using
instincts,
poison.
yes. So to me, my movie instincts kicked in. Y'all been using a sword this entire time. Not one has anybody else used anything other than a sword to try to kill somebody. Oh, she did. She gonna die. As soon
Hmm.
as I saw that, oh, she gonna die.
Now, they have said in the past, I think it's in season two and part of season in the Mugen. Well, season two in season one and in season, I think it's season three, not two, season three. They have said in the past can. She is a person of medicine, so she has made things to make her sword do that where it can do poison tip,
But I
whatever.
mean, she didn't do that when she went up against Spider Dude.
She did.
No, she
The
did,
poison,
but it
the
didn't.
poison.
She did, but it
It wasn't as
wasn't.
necessary. That's necessary.
Yeah,
Like Spider Dude was not that
because
hard.
remember, she wasn't fighting by herself then either.
Yeah, because that's when she had Gyu with him. She had Gyu with her at the time. So she even says in the story, she goes, "I'm super weak. I'm not as strong as like Gyu or Stone Hashira, whatever." And she kind of bemoans that, but she's like, "No, you are strong. You can do this." So yes, it is a foreshadowing of a death because we kind of knew he wasn't going to win that fight, but it ends up being a like an honorable death because she did last till the end,
It
basically.
wasn't honorable. She got
I,
devoured,
I,
bro.
I
That was
yeah, she had about,
what?
but
That was the most
I
She
said,
was
disrespectful ending,
dishonorably discharged.
bro.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm
fair.
not
He
gonna
said,
lie, that
"Hold
made me.
on, I'm not done yet." Like, are you sick, bruh? Bruh.
um,
If that wasn't the most out cold line I heard,
yeah,
bruh.
yeah. I will also say this, and this is the other thing about this, and we're not going to get into this debate. I don't think we need to get into this debate, but I'll bring it up. A lot of people were talking about the English acting over the Japanese acting. So we saw it in English. I will put our hands up. We did see it in English. I, I, I know of the voice acting in Japanese from the seasons. I will say it's good. I do understand most time the American voice acting is not going to be on par. Except, this is the exception. I will give this exception because I think it deserves it. This Zenitsu and Kaigaku fight is actually worth it in English. Because the two men that are doing it are two of the best at what they do. So I think they deserve. I think you put it to yourself to listen to that one in English because actually it's really well done. Do I think the whole movie's not kind of? Do I think it's phoned in English? No, it's a natural animation, so it's like you're not gonna have the voices change as much. You're not gonna have the emphasis on certain things as much, but I think it is there. Gentlemen, what do you think about that? Am I way off base here, or is it just kind of what it is?
Wait, say that last bit again. I feel like my line cut out.
I was saying, even though the English wasn't good or bad, it's just there. It's just kind of those things where you just kind of have to get used to it. For most animes and those anime shows that do animation, where it's just going to be kind of they're not going to do all the inflections and changing voice as much. So am I off base in saying like good or bad? This is just kind of the way it is.
Brandon, for me, it's an iffy subject because that depends on if the actor themselves like what they're doing. Because those
Okay,
actors, this is a paying job for them. If you don't do your job well, you're not gonna get a call back. You know. So I mean, it's and then just like again, just like music, it's all about what you hear and what you're listening to. Because I mean, people might just have a different preference. So my whole point in saying is that there shouldn't be a American voices versus American Western voices. No, both of the actors did what they thought would play the character. Because I'm sure these people, the people who make the shows, aren't just gonna pick somebody to not give their show justice.
fair.
Because I
Agreed.
mean, that's their money, that's their investment.
Agreed. Um, I'm guessing you feel the same kind of way, Dion.
Yeah, I mean, you all know me. I'm a dub watcher, 100%, bro. I will watch sub, but It's got to be like really bad dub in order for me to watch sub, or I have to have watched sub originally. But dub is okay with me. Stop hating, bro.
Oh, I don't
Exactly.
disagree. I don't disagree, and I think it's funny because it's the conversation that's going to be for the end of time. Dubbed over subbed. It's never gonna be. Nobody's gonna ever compare one. Nobody's gonna ever agree on one or the other. Fine, I get that, but it's ultimately a thing too. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Actually, all the acting across the board was actually really good. Now, the one that I think people talked about, which I thought was funny, I don't mind this, are we're gonna talk about now. We're gonna talk about the last arc. Basically, the last arc of this movie was all dedicated to Tanjiro and Upper Three. And they gave them good 45 minutes to an hour for this last arc, by the way. Um, First off, the guy who plays the instructor for the Fighting Hand Dojo, that is Channing Tatum. He actually did a pretty good job. Give man credit. He did really well as playing the character. Um, Secondly, I think this arc has almost made me like feel bad for Upper Three, partially. Only because all that man had to deal with throughout his backstory. And yet, he still went to the dark side and then got redeemed after the fact. It was one of the most interesting arcs I think I've seen in a character I think in a while, where we've seen why he turned bad, we see what's going to go on, what his backstory is, and then at the end of it, he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna not fight anymore. I'm done. And it was good. I will say though, and I agree with Dion. I agree with Dion and Chris for this, but mainly Dion. And Dion mentioned it. That last arc was so long. I kind of wish they cut between other things. That we got his backstory. We got the beginning of that fight. Then we go from the backstory back into the fight. Then we go into another little like cut to like a Star Wars level. Oh, here's astral projections of his wife, his dad, and oh, the guy that was training him in the dojo. All right, do we need all that? And then from there, then we also got um, astral projections of like, oh, the other astral projection was Muzan himself, which was even like, okay, that's kind of weird. I,
Oh, okay then, but okay, if we're gonna say that, then we need to bring up the fact that why is everybody offing themselves? We had what two
hmm.
or three characters said that they committed suicide.
The old man. I know which one you're mentioning. The old man
Hmm.
for the Tet trained Zenitsu and Kaigaku. That's because I think he knew Kaigaku went to the dark side and ended up going demon, and
I
he was
mean,
like,
I mean, still, like they gave beautiful reasons, but wow, the fact
yeah,
that they put it in there.
yeah, yeah. The upper three one is kind of weird, and I don't know if Dion can explain this. It seemed like he he was content, but also felt like he got closure. Is that what I'm kind of figuring out
He
with upper
gave up
three?
on his reason to be a demon,
Okay, that's what I figured.
and he didn't want to keep living because he remembered what he was
Before that,
living for in the first
yep.
place. And so he didn't want to keep going on as a demon, and that gave him the moment to kind of give up on being bad, basically. Which
I
I'll say this: he may have just heard what I told him after he killed Rengoku to just go and kill yourself. Because, bro, what? That's all I'll say on that. Sorry.
yeah. No, you're good. You're good. Um, I I do agree with Chris. It is kind of weird that we're seeing a lot of characters do that, but I also think it's a way to show a little bit of remorse. I'm gonna take the master out of this because the master of that teaching the teach was not remorse. It's more like he failed as a teacher kind of thing. but I think we're gonna see more of. I don't think this is the only time. This is the last time we see the rest of this arc. Really, if somebody's gonna do that. Um, I I, I also feel like too, if you would have put the, and this is where I would have been okay with kind of mixing with the, um, you mix the Doma thing and this kind of interacting with each other. So you go back to Doma thing for one point, then go back to that would have made that flow a lot better.
Or just
Ultimately,
mix the fight.
but how do you mix that fight? 'Cause that fight's one continuous thing.
Just like they
Exactly.
did
Don't make
in
it
that
continuous.
Swordsmith Village. But look at how they did him
Break
in
out from
Swordsmith
each.
Village.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, that's fair.
Yeah, they did it
You
with
can
the
mix,
Mist Sorcerer.
Yeah.
do it with the Miss. You can do it with Miss Astra, where you mix it up, where you mix every. Okay, yeah, you could
Give
have
a
done.
little
Yeah,
story, go back to the fight. I want to kill you. Give it a little story, go back to the fight. No, I don't. I want to kill. I can just go back and
yeah,
forth.
yeah. Um, yeah. I will say too, I don't mind Upper Three getting the treatment of like he gets the longest arc. I'm kind of worried now because I'm wondering what these next movies are going to be. Are these next movies going to be like 2.5 hours or like 2 hours? Are they going to be able to keep that same pacing?
We're going three,
But
two,
also,
one.
huh?
We're going 3, 2, 1. Upper
Oh, so
three,
you think this will be
upper two.
so you can do a 3 hour movie, a 2 hour movie, and a 1 hour movie?
No, we're doing
No,
this
as
movie.
far
Will
as
start upper three. Then next movie
Oh,
is gonna be upper two.
okay.
Then we going for the numero uno.
yep.
Huh.
Because
Do you think?
honestly, bro, that they did leave me like with number two, upper two, bro. He got to die. He got to. Ain't
Yeah,
no way he get away with those monstrosities he did.
but
Nah, bro.
but I think the thing is, I think we see, and this is a speculation. I don't have any confirming aspect of that. I think we see the rest of the Doma fight. That's our big main event for the next movie. We'll get teased, and I say teased. I think we get teased the fight between Upper One, Giyu, and Tanjiro. And then I think the Nitsu is going to end up either end up coming towards that fight or helping or ending up just finding out some way to find Muzan. I don't know. So this is the one where he has nothing to do now for a bit.
Is it just
What?
me or do we think Inosuke is fighting too?
Oh, you know, says gonna fight somebody. We just don't know who.
He's gonna fight somebody. He's fighting somebody. He's running down the hallway. I have a weird hunch that hallway leads to either Doma or that hallway leads to where Tanjiro's are.
Mm, that
Because he
would,
can
you
help.
know what? That would be the fight that I wouldn't mind seeing.
And if he leads to Doma, that's fun because you have the girl there. He can help the
Mm,
he can help the he can help the girl out to get
Unless
finish.
he finds the BY user.
Yeah, he could do that. But I I don't know. This movie overall was interesting. I feel like it's a good stepping stone to this point. Now it has been confirmed. There is one thing I will say. It has been confirmed that they are going to split it up like Mugen Train, where the episodes will be episodic on Crunchyroll. There's no time frame for that. There is
caught it.
that is out in the ether. You did call that. I didn't know if they would actually do it, but they did. They're going to do it.
Because it's more money.
Yeah, there's more money.
And
Who
it's
doesn't
been
But
an
want a
also,
bonus
MO from
after
day
getting another
one.
bonus?
but the thing
But
about it
that's
is
why
though,
it feels like it was just a bunch of episodes because it
yeah.
is.
But it's
Hmm.
also kind of funny. How do you do the breakup for that? Because remember we watched it. Me and Chris watched that, and it felt weird because the
Easy.
cuts were not in
Break
the
it
right
down
place.
into the
Easy.
art.
And then they can do it like they did Lord of Mysteries. They might not be completely 30-minute episodes. They might be like 32, 31, 28, you know.
I think
Yeah,
it's
they could split the
24
episodes up.
minutes.
But I think what he's saying, they could do like mysteries and make it longer instead of
They
having them
can
be
make
short.
the episode longer or shorter comparatively
Uh,
to fit their needs.
and it actually gets
Yeah.
your theory. It would break up the upper three and uh, keep and Contra fight. It would actually do the thing that you wanted. Yeah, overall, I will say I can't say enough good things about the movie. I think the movie's good. I think it's ultimately going to be a stepping stone in the right direction. I do feel like, and I'm gonna also invoke Chris's cousin for this again. Chris's cousin was like, "Why are they doing it in every 2 years? That seems kind of long." I'm like, "Can they just all drop it at once?" I'm like, that doesn't work like that. Not if they want to do movies. So I do feel like there's gonna be a lot of lull after people see this movie. Like, when's the next one coming? When's the next thing? Patience. I have a weird hunch it'll be 2027 for the second movie. It could be earlier. Don't
But that
know
has
because
also been their MO since day one.
Mm-hmm.
they're like, we don't rush things. We take our time. We take
I
every
mean, if
moment to
you
get things
look at
right.
it, it's just they're just telling us this time instead of just doing it like they have been.
Do doing it,
It's
yeah.
been this way.
Yep. And most of the time they've been telling you, they feel like they didn't have to tell you because it was already something that they've been doing.
Um, I will say too. I don't think it's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna be fatigued again from watching it. But I will say, if you're gonna stretch out some of these fights, I think I agree with both of y'all. But I think you do need to mix in more story stuff, but also just switch to make it where you switch stuff. Like if we're gonna have Doma fight the girl and Inosuke, switch between that and then Tanjiro and them trying to get to Upper One, or fight. And they did do that a little bit. They did intercut with the brothers, the son, and the sisters, and they did talk about that kind of stuff. So we do have those little things in there, but I think you need to do more of that so people aren't going to be fatigued but confused. At the same time, I know people are going to say this, and I'm going to hear it a lot. I'm probably going to hear this from this video, eventually from this podcast. We just want to see the fights. Cool, but also the fights were also long enough to where they had to made more of them happen. So be happy they did that because most of these fights aren't that long. But I'll ask this of Dion first. Dion, what would you rate Demon Slayer Castle Arc Movie 1 for rating?
8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a bad. No,
I
that's a,
just
that's
can't get
good.
over that drawn out. I think I almost nodded off a couple times. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, Chris, what would you give Demon Slayer Castle Arc Movie 1 for a rating?
So I'm gonna give it this score because for me, even it was very drawn out, and like I mean, they still gave me the time to give everybody's backstory and make it clear on where they come from and why they do what they do. And I was moved a few times through like all the different emotional spectrums and whatnot. So I'm going to give it a 9.6.
Okay. Okay. I would probably end up giving it like a everything we talked about, kind of going through it. We didn't go through like play by play, but we kind of get the bigger points. I'm gonna have to give it like a 9.5, 9.5. I think it's there as a movie. I do agree. You can't if you're not really invested. If they don't keep the attention span up, you can run off pretty quickly. And I think that's the thing. It is hard because the first half is a lot of backstory stuff. The first half is a lot of backstory. The second half, we really kick the fight up and kick a lot of other stuff up, and it really kind of once you get to the Doma side of things, it kicks the movie full gear. That first 30 to 40 minutes is like the really kind of like heavy stuff. Here's all stuff you need to know. If you miss things, we'll just give you a little recap. But also here's everybody in that situation, which is cool. But I think they're kind of somewhat unnecessary sometimes. But at the same time, I do like you did keep the brother involved. You kept the brother and sister and the sister involved. You kept the doctor and her assistant involved. You kept Sanemi and the Love Hashira involved, which is Sanemi, Love Hashira, and the Snake Hashira all involved, which is actually kind of surprising because they didn't really do much. So I think that's going to be kind of thing. Even kept Giyu involved, and Giyu didn't have nothing to do either, who has the gun. So it's kind of like you're really trying to give everybody their time to shine, which is fine.
He's a
If you
punk,
haven't seen it for
bro.
yourself, go on.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
He's a punk. I'm mad at you.
I
I really am, bro.
mean, the man can't do his whole like eat demons, get power, and go ham because I don't think he doesn't want They haven't explained why he's not doing it, but he can do it. It's not yet. We haven't seen it yet.
Nah,
We'll
bro,
have to see
because
it.
we seen him get the mark, and it was just as good as we've seen him in prior episodes.
And then he
Yeah. Oh,
only
yeah.
got the mark because his back was hurting.
Yep. Yep.
Like, come on, bro. They really did my boy kind of weak in this, and
Well,
it's
we
just so
know
that
that.
Tanjiro could shine. Like, come on, man, y'all could have did that better.
You know, it's funny. We didn't get to see. We didn't. Zenitsu didn't get his mark. Surprisingly, unless they're not going
Who?
to say he gets one.
Who?
Zenitsu. He didn't get a
Zenitsu.
mark when he beat.
Because he
When he beat.
wasn't near Tanjiro.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. All right. Yeah,
Yeah, but they explained that in the last arc.
they did explain that. That's right. That's right. We'll see where the next movie heads. It isn't worth a watch. I will say this: it's not as expensive as I thought it would be. Really spent about $11 on tickets. That's matinee. So like, I thought they could charge more. For IMAX, it's probably a little bit more, depending if you do IMAX and some other, really nice
Normal
theaters and
ticket
things.
prices.
But yeah, but for about 11 to $15 here, it's worth that 2 hour, 2.5 hour mark. Let's get into this chart real quick for week 10 of the anime corner, and then the red chart as well. And I'll just go through the top 10. 2BRX is at 1. Dan is at 2. Call the Nights at 3. The Fragrant Flower that bloomed delicately is at 4. Toilet Bound is at 5. Rested Does Not Dream of Santa Claus at 6. My Just Darling is at 7. The Summer Hikaru Died is at 8. Dealing with the Makia Sisters is a 3 is at 9. And Kaiju number 8 is at 10. Dion, what do you think of this chart?
Man, honestly, bro, what do you expect at this point? Um,
Okay,
I
sounds
will
good.
say, the Flagrant Flower is actually pretty good. I started
Okay.
watching that just so I can see what it was, and it's not bad.
Uh,
But everything else, I mean, what do you expect? This has been ongoing for a little while.
yeah,
I
it's been.
feel like things are kind of solidifying already.
Oh, we'll come back to that, by the way. Um, Chris, what do you think about the chart?
Bro, I always have mixed feelings about this chart, bro. Because okay, 2B Hero X, yes, I can understand why they have it at number one. It's good, the story's thrilling, and it's coming to a thrilling end. Dan, yeah, number is doing pretty good for himself. Now, the rest of these, besides Kaiju 8, which should be a little bit further up, aren't doing
Mm,
half bad. But I'm not paying attention to them because I'm watching other shows that are not on this list. Let's just be real. The
Yeah,
show I feel like the shows that I'm watching are more entertaining than these on this list. Don't
let me
argue
look
with
at them.
me. Argue with me. Yeah.
Let me look at them real quick. I'm gonna look because I just wonder. What am I? Okay. So, oh, nope, not that far. Hold on. So, Clever Tis is 14. Sakamoto Days is 11. Gachikita is 12. Dr. Stone is 13. Secrets of a Silent Witch is 16. Witch Watch is 15. Grand Blue Fell went to 17. The Rise of Shield Heroes at 18. Rune Rock is at 19. And I won't. I'll Be Your Lover Aleph is at 20. So yeah, you're not wrong because I think Sakamoto should be higher, but that's just it's like right at the fringes of the top 10, but not by much. Um, I'm happy to see Kaiju number 8 on the top. On the top, I'm happy because the last two this episode and the last episode has been fire. Was fire.
mm.
So I have to give him credit for that. Um, and yes, I know the most of the season has been pretty boring outside of that, but it's how you leave them. So you left them with a cliffhanger. Um, go through the other chart, Chris, and let's see what the difference is.
All right. So for my chart on over here, I get from Reddit. And number one, we have Dandy Dan. Number two, My Dress Up Darling. Three, Clevitus. Four, Watanabe. Five, Call of the Night. Six, Dr. Stone. Seven, Got You Keitha. Eight, The Summer Hikaru
Mm.
Died. Nine, The Fragrant Flower Rooms with Dignity. And 10, Rascal Does Not Dream of Santa Claus. And guess what? They actually rated the Demon Slayer movie and put it at number 11. How do y'all like them
What?
apples?
That's kind of.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw.
they
I
do
just
add
saw.
movies to this.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because they Anime Corner won't add movies because they don't technically get the ratings from what the rated does. That's not bad for 11. Of all the anime that's going on right now, that's actually not that bad for the movie. That definitely actually moved on pretty well.
That's horrible for a movie
Bro.
Well,
to
okay,
release
but
and still get beat out by an episode.
that's better. Here's the thing, that's better than what I expected. I thought it'd be like 20, like comparatively, because you
Yeah,
came right out of
nah,
the
yeah.
you came out of in the middle of a season. That's why I'm like, okay, you did well. You did well enough. You came out in the middle of the season, like you at the back half of the season. So you're actually getting more recognition than you probably would have if it wasn't for that.
Now the question is, when the show does come out on Crunchyroll and it comes back on this Reddit chart, where will it be then?
Probably close to the middle of the top 10.
Where will the episodes be? Yeah.
Yep.
I would say middle top 10, just because I think a lot of people
Sword
can't
Art
wait
did
for it to watch Central.
trash.
Yeah, but also that's also going to depend on when they're going to put out the episodes, because I think there was no time frame for that. They haven't even said. I think they didn't say
It's coming out in the winter,
what. Wait, the winner.
if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken
Yeah,
though.
I thought they didn't give a time frame, but they might have. I don't remember if they. I knew they said we're gonna do episodic. If they did say the winner, that'd be kind of interesting because the winner's not going to be kind of high. There's not a lot in the winter season yet, so that'd be kind of interesting just to see against some other things. But yeah, um, we'll see where this chart ends up. We're at the back half of the year. I think they're back half of the summer of the season. I think like Dion said, the stuff's solidified, but there's nothing like crazy out there right now. Um, yeah, but we'll see where things go. It's gonna be one of those. I think when we look back on it, because we'll do it. I think next week and the week after, we can look back on this season and really kind of see. We might be still going through. We'll be still going through Lord of Mysteries, but look back and kind of say, has the season been as strong as it? I think it was touted to be. Um, but let's get into episode 7 of Lord of Mysteries. I I will say this: I did watch this episode. It's been a while. It's been like a week and a half now since I watched this episode. I have caught up a
Well,
little
let
bit.
me tell you, I have finished it in
Dang, we on the episode 7 here.
bro, and there are 13 episodes.
Yeah, 13. They added. I thought it was gonna be 13 because the way they've done it. Um, I, I remember watching this episode. I know this episode is like really interesting and really good. I also will say this. I think Lord of Mysteries is kind of not. It's got its following, but I think it's fallen off of like YouTube stuff and people talking about it as much because I think it's not for everybody, but it still has that staying power. So we'll see how this episode goes. This episode will be interesting to
But
watch.
let me be real with you because for y'all that don't know, I watched it with Brandon's roommate, my cousin Drew. I watched the first episode. We skipped episode 2, and we watched episode 3. We mainly decided to watch it because I wanted him to see the graphics and how good it looked. However, after a few days or so, I guess he continued to watch it, and he called me and said, "Chris, this is one of those shows that I can't keep watching." And as I get to the end of this, bro, yeah, like, bro, this thing goes crazy. Like, we on Brandon, the episodes that are about to watch tonight are about to blow your mind. I hope our audience is ready for those that have not seen this episode. Like, cause whole man, yeah, grab your Bibles,
I,
because some of y'all might need it.
I know 7 gets kind of weird, and then going into 8 gets really weird. I remember I watched both 7 and 8, but I remember 7 got really kind of weird, and 8 just gets over the end. Um, but in a second, I will say 3, 2, 1, and then we get going. Gentlemen, you ready?
We
Yeah.
starting with episode 7.
Yep.
No, we did episode 7, or did we?
No, we didn't, because that was the night we were talking about. Uh,
Oh, we were supposed to do 7, but we didn't.
correct. Yep. Because we got in a long conversation
Probably
about.
my bad.
No, you're good. That's fine. Like I say, if we find things to talk about, I'm not ever stop us because it's actually in the conversation.
I'm a chat bot.
Hey, this is a podcast
But
format. That makes sense.
that's why we do the podcast like this, so we can talk during it and hopefully answer people's questions.
Yeah. All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. Episode 7 of Lord of Mysteries.
Coincidence.
I still say one of the few shows that have a traditional opening. And I love it.
Those of you that watch that on an OLED TV, yes, it is
Oh yeah.
gorgeous.
Oh, you told me that looks really good, the colors and stuff. So they've done a good job with it. So I'm gonna ask this, Chris. Does this turn into like a Dead Mountain Death play where they kind of go ahead and answer more questions for you, or this gets even more weird?
No, this kind of turns into Attack on Titan.
Oh, oh, that's an interesting comparison. Oh, he does say web novel. I thought he said
Hmm
what?
You
He
feel like
does say
this show
web.
is still technically an isekai, but it blows other isekais out the water.
Well, yeah, because it actually makes sense. They try to actually have
No,
fun
it
with it.
doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense. Yeah.
None at all. No sense at all. It's different. Way different.
I think a lot of
Once
these
you
shows
get to the
like
end of the season, you kind of start getting the idea of how they're doing this show.
wait, 2 month report. Has he been there? Has he been there 2 months?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done like a little time skipping.
Yeah, there's a little bit
Little
of time skipping.
episode.
Yeah, if you have a subwoofer in your house, that was the most unpleasant feeling.
Oh, absolutely. You can hear it.
You hear it, but you feel it. Like, nah. Even though I still recommend watching this with a surround sound with a good sub.
Yeah, it's funny. He's supposed to be guarding that door, and that door slowly opens from the inside.
Well, if you notice, Captain said, unless it's from within, that door is not to be opened. So it means he
Yeah,
kind of
I would be
expects
running in this
things
case.
to open up.
I'll be running in this case if I saw that.
And this is why that's why Drew can't watch this. Stuff like that.
But see, I'm not. I don't like scary movies, but that's not like that scary. But that'd be kind of creepy. It's like if I
Brandon, if you don't like scary movies, I'm gonna give you a warning about the rest of this show right now. Warning.
Oh yeah, I know. I figure it gets worse. I figure it gets worse. I do figure it gets worse.
Pretty
But see,
cool,
this
actually.
is not as scary as what I would have like.
Mm.
Seems like he may have some castor oil.
Why would you use ritual wisdom magic? Never mind. That's one thing I do remember.
Hey
Like, why
man,
would you
we got to get something out, man. Sometimes you get desperate.
but also, it's kind of bad if you mess it up. It doesn't actually. It can do a lot more harm than good.
That's his business, though. He's the alchemist. He mixes potions and brews.
Also, the notebook never moved. It was still sitting there.
Time skip.
Yep, there's time skip by the clock.
This is very captivating storytelling.
You said
Yeah,
what?
This is very captivating storytelling.
Very
yeah,
much so.
very good.
Like we just been sitting here like glued, and I've seen this twice.
I, I, I
Yep.
think this section of the show is always really interesting because when they do this part, it actually is more interesting to hear about that stuff. When he's out in the real world or the isekai world, it's kind of not really a lot to do outside of the fights and things. So we don't get the same kind of storytelling.
Can I give you a clue then?
Go
The
ahead.
room that he's in is more like Cerebro. I think it'd be more like Cerebro.
Yeah, it's like his mindscape.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find answers and end up with more questions.
Yep.
Has
Just giving
anybody
away
else
the
seen the
reveal.
end of this?
Say what?
Have either one of you seen the end of this?
No, I have not.
No.
This is still a weird thing that she actually does. Why? That is a weird line. Find the nearest clinic. We're just gonna do this.
I'll say this: watching this scene again after watching the end of this show, that scene gave me such goosebumps.
Okay, I remember that. And he just bolts, which is actually kind of funny.
And they made the sound effect of him breaking that glass.
Yeah. The answer is yes. That's kind of creepy.
Hmm.
He's trying to find the holes in this, and he can't. He's having a hard time.
As he should.
Or is it?
I mean, he did just the potion.
Well, that's pretty dope.
Yep.
Yep.
I actually like how they did the color for that. Oh yeah, this is creepy. Because he's there.
I love it.
I'll give y'all another clue. That woman
Okay.
on the table, y'all, we've already seen her.
I figured we had. I know from what I forget from what, but I know.
Mhm. You've seen her in this episode, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
We're gonna end the stream right there. But before we do, we need to talk. We need to go about giving a rating to this episode. We'll talk about it next week, like we've done prior. Um, but Chris, what would you rate Lord of Mysteries episode 7? And give me a small snippet of why.
I would give it an 8, and I really can't tell you why I'm saying 8, but yeah, I'm giving it an 8.
Okay. Okay. Dion, same question to you. What would you rate Lord of Mysteries episode 7?
I would give it like a 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably be right between you boys, so I'll say like 7.8. I think it's one of the stronger episodes. We're actually getting a lot of more story stuff in this.
Brandon, what
If
if
you
I
haven't,
told you they are actually showing, bro, just like a good magician, they're already showing you everything.
yep,
You just don't have
yep,
a clear picture of the puzzle.
yep. I kind of figured that. Um, we'll talk about it more next week, but this is a longer episode because we talked about the movie beforehand. So we could probably only get through one episode tonight, but we are going to do 2 next week because there will be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we'll end up the series. What's going to come out for the spring fall season? We haven't had much news yet about that. Eventually soonish, we'll hear most about that. But if you can watch Lord of Mysteries, Lord of Mysteries is worth it. It is fun. It's interesting. It has a really good story. We didn't talk for most of it. Like Dion said, we kind of just in awe of the story because I think the dialogue, the way it looks, the way it sounds, always really helpful. Um, but I do thank y'all for watching. Hope you did enjoy. We'll be back next week with episode 122 of the Anime Dojo. We'll get some news and things. We'll go through episode 8 and 9 of Lord of Mysteries and go through the charts as well. Finish out the charts for the summer seasons with chart 11 of both, and then I think chart 12. But I think chart 12 is going to be kind of weird because chart 12 is going to be going finish summer with starting of another season as well. Um, I do thank Chris and Gian for joining me, and hope you see you next time. See you.
This
Peace.
is